What's up, Van Fam? It's Ben Price with Vamonos Vans back at you again today with another video. And today I'm going to be showing you how to take a pile of sheet aluminum and turn it into lightweight, strong, durable, and waterproof cabinetry. Let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about how to assemble one of our aluminum cabinet kits. You will get it pre-cut, pre-drilled, pre-bent, just like this. We'll give you all of the necessary hardware. You supply the tools. It's gonna be super simple. Let me show you how to do it. Okay, so to start off, I've got two of the same tool here with two different bits. We've got a 1/8 inch drill bit, and we've got a countersink bit. Our cabinetry is already pre-drilled off of the plasma machine, but this is gonna help take it to final finish and make install easier and prettier. The next tool that you're gonna need is gonna be some kind of rivet gun. I've got a fully manual version right here and a pneumatic version right here. There are also cordless electric options as well. If you have a small compressor, I would recommend picking up one of these from Harbor Freight. They are great tools. They just make doing a lot of riveting a lot easier. You don't have to use quite so much strength or so much energy. If you wanna be really budget conscious, these manual versions are a lot more affordable and you don't need an air compressor for them. Now, of course, you don't need rivet guns if you're not using rivets. So you can see here, we've got 1/8 inch countersink rivets, which is important because that's gonna let us get these heads of the rivets flush with the face of the cabinet, which is gonna make for a much prettier and higher end finish. And the last tool that I'm gonna use today, but you don't have to, are called clecos. This is a cleco. This is essentially a temporary rivet. The way that these work is we've got our cleco tool here, and this little collar on the cleco kind of slips into the collar there, and then the back half of the cleco tool pushes this, which is on a spring. When this is fully retracted, these two pins on the outside kind of splay out, which is how a rivet works. And then when we extend it, they kind of pinch in, making it smaller. So what this allows us to do is when we have two pieces of metal with a hole drilled through it, and we're going to rivet it, but we don't want to rivet it just yet. We just want to put things into place, make sure that they fit. Clecos come in real handy. So this is going to let me put together the full assembly of the cabinet carcass here without having to put any rivets in. Now, granted, these are aluminum rivets. If we have to take them out for any reason, it's really easy. We just grab our 1/8 inch drill bit, put it into the back of the rivet right in the center, drill it straight out. But of course, if you can afford the time and the extra tools, it's really nice to test fit everything before we make it permanent or even semi-permanent. Okay, those are the tools. Let's talk about the material that you're gonna be putting together. For the cabinet carcass, there's only 4 pieces. We've got a back. We've got a bottom. And then we've got 2 sides. These two are more often than not going to be pretty much mirror images of each other. And I'm going to come in here with my other camera just to show you a couple more details about these panels and what you can expect. You can see we do have some pre-bent flanges here, but not all of them have them. As you can see, the back here completely flat, no flanges. But we do have a number of holes already drilled in here, and each one of those has a very specific purpose. So make sure you follow our instructions here. Don't start using those holes for the wrong thing. And then you can see the drawer bottom here. We've got 1 flange here, but none on the other 3 sides. And then on our sides here, we've got 3 flanges. We've got 1 on the bottom, 1 on the back, 1 on the top, nothing on the front. And then you'll notice we've also got these guys, which is going to make attaching everything super easy. These are press fit threads, threaded inserts that we're going to supply hardware for, and I'll show you what those are used for in just a little bit. But now you've seen the panels, let's talk about how they're all going to go together. Okay, so just like we just talked about when we were going over the tools, I've got clecos today, so I'm going to dry assemble, meaning we're not going to put any permanent fasteners through it, rivets, just to get the whole thing up, and you can see how it's going to go together, and then I'll show you how to put the rivets in. Okay, so I've cleared the bench, no other tools. We've just got panels and clecos. I'm going to start with a side and a back. It's going to be the easiest. And let's see, I want not this one. I want the left side panel. This is the right side panel. Just kidding, that's the left side panel and I want the right side panel. Okay, so as you can see, I just got confused pretty quick between which panel was what side. Here's how to tell. Your top flange is going to be wider than the bottom flange. And that's because the top flange is meant to go into the countertop. Having a wider flange gives us more surface area and it just makes attaching a lot easier. Whereas the bottom, we're going to be using rivets from the outside going in. We can do that in a much smaller space. So I've got my right side panel with the wide flange up top. I've got my back. And I'm going to turn these to face the camera. You can see what I'm doing. And before I put this together, you'll notice that we actually have holes drilled on both pieces. And that is to try and make things as easy as it possibly can be for you at home. So all we have to do is line up the holes between those panels. And this first one can be a little tricky, trying to balance everything. But that's why we've got clecos. Once we get the first one in, it's gonna be smooth sailing. I come around on this side, make my life a little easier. Okay, so I've got those holes lined up visually. I'm gonna compress my cleco here, stick that in, take the tool off, and now this is self-supporting. I can go ahead and do the rest. I'm not gonna do all of them, because we don't need all of them. We just need a few just to make things stable for now. Okay, so that's 2 in. And now, actually, before things get too wobbly with the other side, I'm gonna flip this on its back. Should I say its side? And we'll go ahead and put the bottom on. So like I showed you before, we've got one flange on one side, no flanges on the other side. And that's because this flange is going to meet up with this face, the very bottom of our back where there is no flange. And then on this side, or the rest of the sides where we have no flange, those are going to meet up with a flange, right? So we're never really having two flanges go together, and we never have two sides without flanges going together. One side's got a flange, the other one doesn't. That's how we send the rivets through and connect all. So this one's going to start getting attached on multiple sides. So I got the back right here, right in front of me. Let's turn that to face the camera. Go ahead and find one of those holes. Put that cleco in. I go to the other corner. That hole's already there, lined up and waiting for me. And then now I can do this side. Cool. So we got 3 pieces together. I'm actually going to flip this whole thing upside down because I've got clecos in the bottom, so I can't let those be on the bottom. That's not going to work. So our cabinet is now upside down. And we're going to put on the other side. Turn that to face the camera. And remember we said the top flange is going to be wider for mounting to the countertop. Bottom flange is much skinnier. And our cabinet is upside down. So we got to flip this upside down too. So flanges go on the inside. I'm already holding this corner, so I'll put my first cleco right in there. Now what you can do, if you don't opt to use clecos at home, you can just go ahead and put a rivet in. Let me just show you. Now we haven't clearanced these holes yet, so they might be a little tight. You can try using the actual rivet head. And if that doesn't really want to go through, okay, that one did go through. If the fat part of the rivet doesn't want to go through the hole because it's still just a little too tight, we'll get there in just a second. You can always just use the back. Now it's not going to hold itself in place, but it will help you get things aligned temporarily. All right, so if I didn't want to go buy the tools, I could just drop that in. The back end, the tail, it's going to be loose for sure because that part's much skinnier, but it'll help you get things aligned, right? I'm going to take those out, and I'm going to use my clecos because I got them. Okay. Wiggle that guy out. Put that in, 2 more in, and then we've got a dry fit. And even though we've catted these, we've cut them out on our CNC machine, so it should be super accurate. There shouldn't be any reason why it shouldn't line up this way. We're just going to confirm that everything fits. And you saw, even with explaining everything to you, that took a couple minutes, not very long at all. Definitely worth it. Than trying to fumble around with, floppy pieces, take the extra time. We got our assembly together. It's going to be so much easier to work with now. And with that being said, it's time to bring out the drills. Just like I was talking about before, we haven't clearanced the holes yet. We want the rivets to be a really nice tight fit. So that means that our holes are going to be a little bit undersized coming off of the CNC machines. That way, with a drill bit, which is more accurate, we can get exactly the right hole size that we want. Then we can come in and chamfer it so that we can get our countersink rivets to sit flush. So I'm going to start with all of the rivet holes that are still open, that don't have clecos in it. I'll clearance all of those. We'll go ahead and countersink all of those, and then put rivets in all of those. And once we've got rivets in all of those, we can take the clecos out, clearance, countersink, and then rivet all of those. So we're kind of going in 2 phases here. Okay, so turn the cabinet towards the camera so you can see what I'm doing. This really doesn't take any effort at all. We've cleared most of that hole out. We just want to get it nice and round, and we want to get it to dimension. So this goes super quick. Okay, so all of those have been clearanced. Now we're going to take our countersink bit and we're going to countersink the hole, as the name suggests, so that we can get the head of the rivet to sit nice and flush with the face of the body. Okay, just for context, I just countersunk that first hole. We've got one of our countersink rivets right there. And I've got a regular domed head rivet right here. I want to show you the difference just in case you guys don't know already what I'm talking about. Okay, so take that out. This is a countersink where we've got this angled edge that goes into the material, and that lets the bevel, or the angled bottom side of this rivet, sit either flush with or shallow of the face of the material. And one, that just leaves us a nice smooth finish. If you want, you can go ahead and cover over this with body filler before you finish everything off so that you don't even see it. but it also lets us mount cabinets to each other without having any space between. And here, let me show you what I'm talking about. If I come down here to this domed head rivet, now of course I haven't popped the tail off yet, but you can see that this one, it's actually domed out on the top versus being angled in on the bottom. And this is much more of like a typical rivet that you would see. But the problem, at least when we're making cabinetry and mounting to floors or mounting to each other, is that domed piece sticks out and creates a small gap between the cabinets. And that's not what we want. And that's not the look that we want either. So that is why we're going to take a little bit of extra time and we're going to countersink our rivets. Okay, so now that I've countersunk all of those holes, I'll go ahead and put rivets in them, and we'll take the rivet gun and we'll pop those tails off. Okay, with the rivets sitting in all of those holes, I've got my rivet gun here. This is pretty simple. I'm just gonna steal one and I'm gonna show you what's gonna happen here. So we take the tail of the rivet, that goes into our rivet gun here, and then when I pull the trigger, you can see that the bead kind of got pulled inside and it got a little fatter there at the end. There's all the air pressure coming out. When I pull it again, you can see that bead on the end went inside further and it expanded some more. I'm gonna keep going. You can see that just shot off, but because that bead is expanding it, that ends up compressing on the inside of the hole, creating a mushroom compression, and then the tail, which I've got here, breaks off and then leaves you with a flush edge. I keep a red container around, and every single one of these tails goes in here, and then when I'm done, this all goes in the trash. And that is because those tails can puncture your tires. Obviously, we've got a shop here. We've got a bunch of vans going in and out. We want to make sure that none of those end up on the floor, which is going to help protect ours and our clients' tires. So we'll pop another one back in and we'll get to riveting. That's one. Okay, so that is all of the holes that are not clecoed. Those are all riveted now. We can go ahead, pop out our clecos on the bottom, put rivets in there. Okay, and now we're gonna repeat that process again. We'll clearance with the drill, we'll countersink, and then we'll rivet. Okay, so that is the whole bottom of this cabinet all riveted together. We can go ahead, not the bottom, the back. What am I talking about? That's the whole back of the cabinet all riveted up. Now we can flip it over, we'll do the bottom. Same process here on the bottom. We're gonna clearance, countersink, and rivet. Okay, well, I guess there's only two holes that aren't clecoed. Now we'll take out the clecos, do it again. Okay, and with the bottom all riveted, that's the whole cabinet carcass put together. Just a couple rivets, a couple clamps, that's it. And just to show you, You've already seen me moving it around, but this thing is light. I could literally be throwing this around the shop if I really wanted to. Imagine how much better that's going to be in your van. Okay, so next up for this cabinet is going to be drawers. And to do that, we've got drawer slides. If you've ever tried to build custom drawers before, you know that slides can be one of the most complicated and frustrating parts. It's really important to get everything nice and parallel and aligned right, level, and straight. And that can be a headache for a first timer. So earlier in the video, when I showed you those press fit threaded inserts that we've got on the inside, well, those are for drawer slides to make it really easy. It's for a complete amateur to put them in place and nail it the first time, every time. And to install the drawer slides, we've got two different pieces of hardware. We've got these teeny tiny 632 machine screws to go from the slides into the metal cabinets, into those threaded inserts. And then we've got number 6 half-inch countersunk screws to go from the drawer slides into the drawer boxes. Now, obviously, for the sake of this video, I have already built the drawer boxes. The tutorial on how to do those is going to be a separate video. So for now, just follow along on how to install the drawer slides and enjoy how simple this is going to be for you. And to demonstrate how easy that's going to be, I'm going to be using a regular old hand-powered screwdriver, no power tools. Now, this is an optional step. You do not have to wear gloves. I like to wear gloves when I'm installing drawer slides because they've got a lot of grease or lubricant all over them, and inevitably that gets all over my hands, and I'd rather not. So, gloves. Okay, installing the slides. Each one of these slides is only going to need 3 screws. You will see those are already set for you, so there's no guesswork there. Those screws are going to be for these slotted holes. And when you line this up, you're going to want the very front edge of your slide when it's closed to align with the front edge of the cabinet. So it'll be pretty easy for you to see which of all of these holes you're supposed to be using just by lining this up. All right, we're going to move the camera for this one to try and make it a little easier for you guys to see what is going on here. But just to show you again what I just did, got the slide fully opened. Just line up that front edge of the slide. And I can see I'm going to put a screw here. I'm going to put one here. And then I think I've got another one. Yeah, my last one's going to be right in there. So to make my life a little easy, I'm going to start with this back one. And I'm going to put the screw in that slot to start with. And I'm going to put my screwdriver on it. And then while I hold that in place, I'm going to go ahead and line it up with that threaded insert. And then get it started. I don't want to go too tight. We're going to want to line everything up. Okay, now I've got this front one. And again, I'm going to go ahead and put that screw on my screwdriver to start. Get that hole aligned. Put that screw in, and we'll go ahead and get that not tight, but just kind of snug. Go ahead, put the screw on the screwdriver again. Slide the slide so I can see my hole, and we'll attach that third one. And as long as the slide, the front facing or the front edge of the slide, like we've been talking about, is lined up with the edge of the cabinet, you can go ahead and tighten all 3 of those. And that is one part, or should I say 1/2 of the drawer slide process. Now I'll go ahead and do the other side, and then we'll get the drawer in here. So same thing for that first screw, I'm going to put it in the back. I'll put my screwdriver in there just so I can hold that screw in there while I line everything up. and get that first one started. Now you could also do this before you put the cabinet together. It's just going to make these panels a little heavier. So it might be a little bit more annoying to be flopping around while you're trying to get everything lined up, but that is up to you. All right, so that is 3 screws in. I'm just going to loosen them up just so that I can line up the slide with the front edge of the cabinet. And there we go, we're lined up now. So I can tighten this back down. Okay, that's the slides on the drawer. Let's show you how to put the drawer on the slides. All right, we're gonna come in close here again just so you can see what's happening. These slides come apart. They're actually 2 pieces. And I'm gonna show you how to do that. So you can see when I pull this smallest part out, we've got a little tab that shows up right here. And that tab is more towards the bottom of the slide than it is towards the top. And all I have to do is push that tab up, and this whole part now comes out. And this is what is going to attach to our drawer box over here. But we got to get the other one out first. And this one's going to be the opposite. So by opposite, I mean that little tab on this side is going to be at the top, and we're going to want to push it down. And this is definitely the part where I like wearing gloves because all that grease is on this track right here. So I'm going to take my tab, pull it down, and then again, this whole part comes out. We'll go ahead and put these on the drawer boxes now. Okay, and to show you how easy it's going to be on our drawer boxes, you can see we've got holes pre-drilled in here as well. So again, alignment is not going to be an issue. And for this part, I've got my number 6 countersink wood screws. And before we start screwing in, this is going to be the front of our drawer box. And we know that because this hole is really close to this side, whereas the last hole is much further away from the back side. This is going to be your leading edge. And I did pull these out from the 2 slides, right? And one side was up and one side was facing down. But these things, they're exactly the same. There's no such thing as a left or a right drawer slide, at least for these types. So it doesn't matter which one you pull these out, they're the same thing. So we'll go ahead and we'll line these up. And again, we can see that these are going to fit in those slotted holes in the slide so that we've got a little bit of room for adjustment. So I'm just going to kind of hold that in place and put one of my screws in here. Now these holes are not drilled all the way through, they are markers. So I can take, this is going to take a little bit of effort, but I just want to show you that you really don't need that many special tools to do this job. That's 1 screw in. That's 2 going in. Okay. Let's get our last one on this side. Tighten that down, and again, we've got the front of this aligned with the front of the drawer here. Those are tightened down. We can flip it around, do the other side. Now, this is going to be our front. So this part is going to be towards there, whereas this little notch right here, that goes towards the back. So you can see everything starts to line up with our pre-drilled holes right there. And that goes in nice, lined up, or pre-lined up. And the last screw on this side. All right, and with the slides installed on the drawer box, now we can go ahead and put it into the cabinet. Okay, so we've got our drawer box with our slides installed. We've got our cabinet riveted together with our slides installed. All we got to do now is put the drawer box in. First thing we're going to do is pull the slides out, and then we're just going to align the track on the drawer box with the track on the cabinet. We'll get that click. Then we'll come to the other side and we'll line those up. We have both sides engaged. Now the cabinet goes in. Sometimes they take a little bit of force to get it to go in the right, like all the way the first time, but then it's smooth action after that. And these are soft close hinges, so we push that, it's going to close itself all the way. So we're going to go ahead and do that 3 more times for the other drawers. But then our drawer cabinet is essentially dry fit minus faces. And once we get those faces on, be ready for a countertop. We'll be ready to attach this cabinet to the cabinet that it goes next to. And then it'll be ready to go in the van. How satisfying is that? Okay, and last up is going to be drawer faces. Just like everything else, these have pre-drilled holes, which correspond with pre-drilled holes on our drawer fronts. So all we need are going to be some number 6 7/8 screws, and we're going to go ahead, push these through the back of our drawer faces till they're poking out a little bit. Then we'll be able to align those with the pre-drill holes in our faces, get everything screwed together and finished up. Okay, just so you can see what I'm talking about here, I started putting these 2 screws in. You can see they're both poking out on this side. So what I can do now is grab my face, wrong side. We'll get the face with the pre-drilled holes, and we'll go ahead and we'll get it lined up here to the point where those screws, fall into these pre-drill holes. I'll have a hand on my driver and a hand on the cabinet, and with 2 hands, we'll go ahead and be able to get those connected together. Okay, that's one down, 3 more to go. All right, and that is all of our drawer faces on everything aligned perfectly the first time, the way that we expected it to. Now, the last thing to do, or should I say the second last thing to do, is going to be to attach this cabinet to the other cabinets that are going to be on the sides of it. And that will help make everything a little bit more rigid. And then to really shore everything up, lock everything in place. Once that countertop goes on and this whole cabinet gets bolted in place in the van, it's gonna be rock solid. It's not going anywhere. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to build our professional quality DIY cabinets. If you're interested in grabbing one of these sets, go ahead and hit the link in the description or head to vamonosvans.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Vamonos Vans. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, you know, all the things. Those make a huge difference in helping us reach more people like you who want to have a high quality van at an affordable price point and do it themselves because, let's face it, it's fun, but you want to do that without all the headache. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.